So what would you say to like Christians, who, they give out these verses, like for example, Revelations 1:17, when I saw him, I fell at his feet as though dead. Then he placed his right hand on me and said, "Do not be afraid. I am the first and the last."
Excellent. There was a Christian friend of ours I was discussing, and someone took that clip and put it on TikTok, I think it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I said, I'm not familiar with all this technology. I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. In which
Should-
he referred to these verses in the book of Revelations. Yeah. And
uh-huh.
I said to him, look, it says he was the beginning and the end. He said, yes. I said, did God have a beginning? What? He didn't know what to say. But look, if the verse says that, did God have a beginning? Now, logic will dictate that if that that question cannot be answered, and it cannot, because the moment you do that, you have strictly limited the creator. And you can't do that. Yeah? But it doesn't necessarily mean that the verse itself may have a meaning other than the one that they have actually conjured up. And
Mhm.
I would suggest it is the latter. Because, for example, going in the Old Testament, okay, you have
Mhm.
got the Creator saying, your God is a jealous God.
Yeah,
Uh, why would the Creator be jealous? With whom? By whom? From whom?
yeah,
You have to think about this. You think, why would God be jealous? Yeah,
yeah.
we are attaching emotions, human emotions, to the
Mhm.
Creator. Yeah, not the way the Creator has informed us of how we should look at ourselves, but how we think we should look at the Creator. It's in reverse. Yeah. So
Mhm.
you find consistently, yeah, the statements, and these are common statements that we are always using. Deuteronomy 6:4. Yeah. Shema Israel, Adonai Elohenu Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one.
Yeah.
It tells you that. John 4:24. God is spirit. They that worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. Now, can you tell me when was the last time you saw a spirit walking around? Unless you are one of those, what do they call them? The ones with the,
The mystics.
yeah,
Yeah,
who are imagining a.
yeah.
It's telling you that. If you look at the evidence, yeah, and particularly the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 25 onward, yeah, it actually tells you there that people started worshipping a man, yeah, as a
Mm.
result of which curses came. Now, there are indications, but in order to understand those indications, you must, and this is one thing I'm always telling our Christian brethren, you must leave aside what you believe
Mhm.
and look at the evidence the way the evidence ought to be looked at.
Yeah.
If you go in with a belief, then you are going to have colored glasses on when you are reading the statements. And I would suggest that it should always be the reverse. So if somebody showed me these verses, I would very easily tell them, look, there is a misunderstanding as to how you are reading these verses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when somebody quotes me that, I usually say, did he have a beginning? Now you have to try and make me understand from the internal evidence that that statement is valid. And trust me, you will not be able to do that.
That's totally true.
Yeah.
Can I give you a couple more? Or
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, sure.
John 14:6. Jesus answered, "I am the way and the truth and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me." It's a common one, but is
Yeah,
always used.
absolutely. Amazing statement. Yeah. No one can get to the Father but through him. Now, I usually have an exercise with my Christian friends when they quote me that. I say to them, okay, I can agree with it. But
Mm.
2 points I need us to consider. Point number one, did he say it in the context of a prophet? That we have to answer. And point number two, which is even more important, yeah, and again, it's a thought exercise
Yeah.
because the statement will make sense, yeah. If, for example, Jesus is telling us right now I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father but through me. Just as he is saying it, another three claimants arrive and start saying the same thing. How
Yeah.
will we verify which one is the one that is telling the truth?
Not sure. If they all say the same thing,
Yeah, they are
I
also claiming that there is no way to the Creator except through them.
mean, I guess you test their claim.
You got it in one. You test it. Now, if you were to test the context of all these statements that Jesus Christ is alleged to have made, you will come to a definitive conclusion. And that conclusion, in a roundabout way, is confirmed in the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 22. Hear, O Israel, Jesus Christ, a man approved of God by miracles, wonders, and signs, which God did through him.
Yeah.
What is the definition of a prophet? Anyone will tell you that the definition of a prophet is one who takes guidance. And have we not come across statements? John 5:30, I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just because I seek not my will, but the will of him that sent me. So the biblical statements are replete with confirmation after confirmation that Jesus Christ was a mighty messenger of God. And when all those, like I said, Brother Suleiman, if you look at the evidence objectively, you will come to that conclusion that he was a mighty messenger of God. If you approach the evidence with your colored glasses, then you are going to see a totally different picture. And unfortunately, the majority of our Christian brethren are with those glasses on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I concur with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one. Last one on
Sure.
Mark 2:5. When
Uh-huh.
Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralyzed man, "Son, your sons are forgiven."
Yeah.
So, for example, so he's, forgiving sins allegedly.
Excellent. You're absolutely right. John 5:30, we just read out. I can of my own self
Do
do
nothing
nothing. So where is he taking the guidance from?
to the Father.
Okay. John 11:41, he goes and brings Lazarus back from the dead. And he says something. Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I know that you always hear me. But I said it so that the people who are stood by will believe that you have sent me. Now, the question I've asked our Christian brethren, what did he say? What did he ask for from God? You can have a bit of a clarification here. Acts 2:22 we just referred to. Who was giving him all this ability? The Creator.
Creator, yeah.
In the Gospel of Matthew, he says this is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And then he goes on to say, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive others their trespasses. Now, can the prophet of God have the permission to forgive sins?
Yeah,
There is nothing illogical about it.
yeah,
But if
can,
you put a slant, if you put a slant on it with those colored glasses, you are going to see something else.
yeah,
Oftentimes, just a quick example, my brother, in John 10:30, which is usually quoted, I and my Father are one. In what? Yeah. And you can have a long explanation to tell any reader that, look, it's not saying what a lot of my Christian friends say.
yeah,
It isn't. And they themselves, when they are taken through it step by step, cannot fail but to agree. So, again, if you look at the statements from an objective perspective, you will find they will again give you the conclusion that Jesus Christ, the way Jesus Christ is understood, was a mighty messenger of the Creator and nothing more, nothing less.
mashallah, yeah, mashallah.